what would be the item to give these two to start off this run? And Slim, what do you think is going to be the weapon that is, or the item that's going to send these two all around all of Hyrule to just, send them completely going crazy?
I'm going to say the hookshot. The hookshot's given me personally a lot of grief in this version of the logic, and, it'd be nice to see someone else have that hurdle to play with.
All right, we're off, and we see 20 rupees over at the house as both of these runners will head on over towards the uncle. We'll find out what he has to offer both of these runners in just a moment, as well as make our way through Hyrule Castle. Same standard procedure here. Standard mode with the randomized swords. Best of 3 matchup between these two as we get them both in sync, and the uncle will give us the hammer this time.
Well, with the hammer, they won't have to worry about ammo or magic whatsoever, so that's nice, and good opportunities to farm items as well.
20 more rupees inside the chest as Fred picks up the magic here, and Xyrak is going to go ahead and skip that. So Fred heading out of here, so too does Xyrak. Both neck and neck as they make their way over to Hyrule Castle. Ooh, Xyrak gets a bomb drop. He's going to go back and pick that up. Doesn't have to worry about bombs for the remainder of escape. Fred does not get that luck at this point. We'll have to hope that another guard will advance his drop count.
There it is.
There it is right there. So both of these runners now with a bomb in hand. So the challenge, obviously, we're going to see how both of these runners adjust to having the hammer because of the delayed mechanics here. It's not going to be an issue with this guard. We've seen it become an issue with the ball and chain guard, though.
Yeah, that's right. That small hitbox can be really devastating to work with. It's just, you have to get pretty close to your enemy, and if they kind of catch you off guard, they can take damage and not really intend to. Thankfully, at the ball and chain guard, you have those pots you can use kind of in the corner to do some damage, but, that's not the fastest way to do it, so our runners are probably going to want to try to get close just so they can get a little bit of time here.
And you're not going to see either of these runners really going out of their way to combat at this point because we've already got ourselves that one bomb for the back of escape. They may opt to try in a more bulky area like the ropes, for example, to try to get themselves some more bombs because they're going to need that for Kakariko Village.
Yeah, definitely. You want to go to Kakariko with at least probably around 3 bombs or so. That way, if you don't kind of get what you want from Kakariko, you can still have the opportunity to buy some bombs just in case.
So Fred's going bold here with the hammer strat. Xyrak grabs the pot. They both grab the big key at the same time. They end up picking up the map at the same time. Now they can get themselves over the sewers without any sort of problem.
Yeah, and they are definitely just... not quite frame for frame, but still just, they're in the same door transition at the exact same time. So really very close, good execution from both of them.
Just see the little things like movement here come into play for both of these runners. If they get hung up on any of the doors, if they're able to do any of the pumping strats as they go through the water, those little things will make a difference on who makes it to the sanctuary first. It's both of these guys going up the stairs, heading to the door at about the same exact time.
Yeah, and just very crisp movement too. They're both just kind of navigating through this very well done, and I wouldn't expect less from either of these runners. I see Xyrak in a lot of SRL races, and fcoughlin definitely has some experience as well, being the creator of the Zelda 1 randomizer and the Super Mario Bros. 3 randomizer, and just in general, he's familiar with the whole randomizer aspect of video games, and because of that, it's always interesting to see how he routes, just kind of having that strong knowledge base of randomizer logic and whatnot.
He's always put out together a fine showing in any of the Link to the Past randomizer tournaments that he's joined.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
He does get bothered by the rats just a little bit. That gives Xyrak the first one here into the room with the ropes. Yeah, it's not to kill. Fred gets the perfect setup, though.
Oh, yeah, that was a beautiful setup.
And that was guaranteed to be a key, and Xyrak's going to go down and pick up those rupees, gives him 60 rupees, so well on his way to having what he needs for Kakariko Village.
Yeah, it's usually at this level where you kind of have enough for the bottle vendor, because you'll be guaranteed to get some extra rupees there in Kakariko, as Fred does find a red rupee himself.
Yeah, he's going to pick that up too because of the same reasons that Xyrak picked up a moment ago. Need those rupees for Kakariko Village. We end up bombing the rats here. And
Ooh, there's another one.
Oh, there's the 10
Oh.
bomb drop. We don't have to worry about anything else for Kakariko Village. And with the extra bombs, Xyrak's going to go up to the north wall. Fred opts to go to the south wall. And you get to see a little bit of the difference there of how fast it is to go to that north wall.
I am happy to see that Fred did go back and get that red rupee, though, so he is going to have a little more money heading to Kakariko.
Yeah, but unfortunately, what that 10 bomb drop does is it no longer puts into the consideration the fact that these two may have to stop at the shop and buy some bombs.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. And from the last chest in the sanctuary, oh, go be a hero. Okay.
That's the first time I've seen that chat. I've seen that pop up from the sanctuary priest.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen that either. But we are out in the world of Hyrule now. Would be interesting to see a map check very soon to see what our dungeons are going to be for the Light World.
You may have to wait until we're done with Kakariko Village first. And so these two are going to be a hero first, but they're going to go be a hero going the same direction. Both of them are going to go skip the Lumberjack Cave. So we're not going to see whether or not this is a Aga required seed just yet. They'll probably do it a little bit later when they get the equipment to do it.
Yeah, you can kind of put that on hold until you get boots.
Hearts fall from the tree. Xyrak's going to go grab those 20 rupees, so too does Fred.
And inside the forest hideout, we are going to have another red rupee.
Yeah, at this point, this seed is giving them the rupees that they don't really need anymore. They can go ahead and pick up all the rupees in Kakariko Village and have themselves enough to at least get everything they need to take care of in Kakariko Village. Fred doesn't really need that fairy. He's got full life.
Yeah, well, they do seem kind of covered for rupees right now. It would be nice to see like a big 300 pop up, though, just to kind of get you on your way to that Zora money and other expenses you have to pay.
Nah, we don't need Zora money. He's going to have nothing.
Well, that is possible.
Alright, we are still looking for some items here. And I didn't get to see what was in that chest. Oh, it's just an arrow up there. There's that 300 rupees that you were speaking of. And hey, we've got ourselves the ice rod.
Which can only mean Turtle Rock is not going to be required, as we also get the silver arrows.
The silvers to kill the beast lie elsewhere. That's where they are. So we head over to the well. We really don't have a lot of progression at this point. We got a hammer. That's great, but what can we do with it?
1/3 Dark World access.
Yeah, you're right. But besides that, really not much else we can do with it at this point.
That is unfortunately true. We do get a mushroom, though, inside the well. And the Quake Medallion.
Now, if we got a cane of Samaria here in Kakariko Village, either of these runners could pull off the glitch to allow them. Hey, red bottle. Oh, is this even randomized? But getting back to what I was saying, if we get a cane of Samaria here, either of these runners could pull off the powder skip here and find out what the magic bat has early.
Ooh, half magic.
Although if we're going to go to the magic bat, that's going to make it a little harder to drain your magic.
Yeah, that's true. We have the ice rod to kind of expend more magic at once, though, so...
Alright, well, let's see what the sick kid has since we have the bottle here. And he just has a little bit above for our runners. How nice.
Definitely.
Oh, Fred bombs him. Well, he's not going to be sick anymore if you decide to bomb him as we get ourselves the power glove in the back of the tavern.
I see that in that location a lot. I don't know what it is.
I'm not even going to comment about that, considering it's you.
Please
and
don't.
something happened to you regarding that spot.
Let's talk about the library. It just has an arrow capacity upgrade. That's all.
Well, that does have an arrow capacity upgrade as we make our way over to the race game, and that power glove is nice. We get ourselves a Moon Pearl, we'll have Dark World access. It looks like we have 2 crystals here in the Light World, the Eastern and Hera, with the desert being the red pendant.
That is exactly what I saw as well, so, yeah, not too bad of a layout.
So let's head on over to the South Shore, and both of these runners are heading right straight for the dam. We'll go ahead and find out both of the items inside of here, and then we'll make our way. And like I said, at this point, we still don't have any real progression. If we get the Moon Pearl, that's Dark World access at this point. I think both of these runners don't really want to see that with the 5 hearts at this point.
Yeah, navigating that Dark World can be really, really dangerous at times, and those enemies do a lot of damage, so... You know, it'd be nice to get like a mail upgrade or just, again, more health. That'd definitely be nice. Or, you know, a single arrow inside the water.
So Fred's going to go ahead and grab the chest, get the 20 rupees inside. And now we are at 417 rupees here for Fred versus 395 for Xyrak. We are getting really close to the money that we need for Zora.
Yeah, and we're in a pretty close proximity to where Zora is, too, so... You know, if they get that Moon Pearl, that's a lot of checks we can make by fake flippering.
Nice use of the Ice Rod here for Xyrak in order to knock off the mini Moldorms. That's really good use, as Fred's going to go bomb strats. So this is going to be a little bit longer here for Fred. Although he gets a double there. There's our Zora money. We get ourselves our second bottle. There's our first sword and a single rupee. Now, the thing with the Zora, it is in logic.
It is, yeah. We have that power glove, so that makes Zora in logic. It's fake flippers is just a faster way to get to him.
So we are going to go ahead and see Xyrak head on over towards the Ice Rod Cave. See whether or not Fred pulls up the same strats here as well. He likely will. Gonna have to be careful of the crabs himself. He's down to 2 hearts and dodging the enemies here. And don't forget, those crabs, they are the hardest hitting Light World enemy. They do 2 hearts of damage to you.
And that would spell death for Fred right now if that happens. So we get even more bombs inside the ice cave.
It looks like Xyrak was going to opt to save and quit, but has decided he's going to go check Zora, I believe, at this point.
I think this would be a good time to do it for sure, as these bombs are actually going to be really nice for Fred because he's been just using a whole bunch of them on NPCs and random enemies.
Well, that's just giving him more ammunition to go ahead and do some more bombing around as we move along here, and we do see Fred heading on over towards Zora as well. Still some more spots we can get to at this point. The back 3 of Sahasrahla is still open to us. We also do have access to Eastern, at least to get 2 out of the 3 items minimum.
We could also sequence break up the Death Mountain for just like 1 or 2 items, and you know, there's also that mushroom in play still too.
Ooh, that is right, and we'll see whether or not either of these runners go after that mushroom a little bit later on. As Xyrak heads on over to the hobo, this is a sequence break that yields an arrow upgrade by the looks of things. He's opting to save and quit here.
Well, at this point, he'd only be able to get the 1 item from Zora, so he's probably just kind of using that as a way to, you know, I can get more items if I go somewhere else, and maybe come back for Zora later with the mirror so I can combine it with Catfish or something.
But he is now going to be heading on over, and Fred ends up bobbing the hobo, which is not going to make him feel any bit better after handing him that up. Xyrak's heading over to Sahasrala's hut. Let's go ahead and see what the back three of these are going to be. This really, unless the mushroom leads to something, unless Zora leads to something, is going to be the last real spots for progression. Unless our friendly Agina, who's out of the way, has something.
And he very well could. That spot is Spear 1 for a reason. There could be something there as we get the blue mail and the moon pearl.
Yeah, the moon pearl is the biggest thing here for Xyrak, because that now gives us that dark world access. And immediately Fred, or rather Xyrak's going to go right straight to the house, and he's going to go to the hype cave. Fred is going to go ahead and see what 500 rupees is worth today. 50 rupees on the Zora ledge, so nothing there.
And I do like the play by Xyrak too. This way he can kind of save Eastern Palace for later, kind of combo it with Darkness Palace. Just kind of makes the routing a little more efficient.
Absolutely. And you don't have the bow at this point, and that could come into play.
Yeah.
Right, heading on over to Zora. Let's see if this turns out to be a scam for 500 rupees. Likely it's going to be. And it's going to be for the red boomerang. And, well, Fred decided to show off his distaste by giving it a nice, great bomb. Now, there's the problem with doing that.
Yeah, he is, well, first of all, he's low on bombs, and,
Well, the thing is he's about to spend a bomb as we get our map check, and it does turn out Palace of Darkness is a pendant. Green pendant up at Skull. 5-6 would be Ice and Thieves Town.
yes, that is correct.
By the way, we didn't get really anything big at the Hype Cave.
No, we didn't. Just some heart pieces, some bombs, arrow capacity upgrade. It was kind of uneventful. Not really that hype.
Well, let's see what Fred decides to do here as he gets that Moon Pearl. And pulls out the hammer. And, well, yeah, he's going to hammer Sahasrala this time around. He can't bomb him because he's going to need to save that bomb.
Yeah. So, good on him for considering that.
Alright, we're going to head to the digging game. Well, we all know the rules about the digging game by now. Let's see what Xyrak can dig up this time. Anytime now. And you're deep this time. We're at 20 digs already. 26, 27, 28, 29, max 30.
Wow. Just for a red rupee, too.
Time to head on over towards the village of Outcast for Xyrak.
Meanwhile, Fred is actually taking this time to go through Eastern Palace to see if he can find something.
This would be interesting if Eastern Palace has anything of note. Like, for instance, it could very well have the hookshot, it could have the fire rod, it could have something that would help move along the seat even more. And it has 50 rupees, one of the possible 3 that we can get in here. Maximum we can get, or minimum we can get, is 2.
And that's the thing, Eastern Palace is actually another one of those kind of Spear 1 locations, or basically locations that you can access from the get-go as soon as you get out of the escape section. So literally anything could be here in Eastern Palace, so it's always important to check this out, but you know, it's also good to save it for later as well, to again combo it with Palace of Darkness.
Well, we do know that one of the items is guaranteed to be behind the lamp at this point, because we do have the map under that third chest. So in the big chest we have 300 rupees. That's not necessarily what we need to see at this point.
Yeah, it really isn't, because, you know, we're not going to get the lamp behind here, and, well, you know, we still need that bow to even finish this place properly, even if you sequence break it, so you know, we could be going all this way for not progression, basically.
So Xyrak is going to be heading on over towards the bombable hub. Let's see what we have inside. So far, the Village of Outcasts have not really yielded anything major. We get 20 rupees there. But we may be heading into Thieves Town at this point. It is a beatable dungeon.
It is. We have the hammer. That's really all you need for Thieves Town.
And Fred getting the compass, which means that the third and final item is going to be behind the Armos Knights, and we get a heart container inside the Sea House. And Fred, it is time to head on over towards the Village of Outcast himself. He's going to skip Hype Cave for now. Probably doesn't want to use up those 2 bombs at this point, given how he's been really happy spamming his bombs.
It makes me think he's like trying to tease a Bomberman randomizer that he might be working on or something. I don't know. Just my hunch that I have.
Don't give him any ideas, Slum.
I kind of want to. I like Bomberman.
Okay, then in that case, give him ideas.
You get the big key from Thieves Town in the first 2 chests. Although that's pretty much guaranteed to find that early in this dungeon. Can't really get far without it.
Yeah, you're guaranteed to find it in one of the first 4 chests as Fred heads on over towards the Dark World. Xyrak here checking through Thieves Town. Now, which Bomberman would we randomize?
My favorite is Super Bomberman 1 for the Super NES, so I'd like to see that personally.
Okay, well, we can put that into consideration.
Awesome.
And Fred taking a look at the map, and it looks like he's planning out a dive into Skull Woods, which, being a pendant, might not be a bad decision here at this point.
Not really. Skull Woods only has 2 items, and if you find them early and they happen to be progression, you can just automatically clear this place out of your memory and just kind of focus on other stuff. So I kind of like making this check too.
Oh, there's the lamp.
Oh, there we go. We have a light source, and we have something we can use to light torches with.
There's the map, so Fred's going to have to take the long way around here at this point. But this could be a case where we could find something else. If Fred finds the hookshot, or if he finds the mirror, that's Death Mountain access. And more than just the 2 items we have access to at this point.
That is correct. Tower of Hera, and then the east side of Death Mountain in general. That's a lot of items, and a crystal in the sea too. So that would definitely be a good place to go if we do happen to find that hookshot or mirror.
That's going to be a key. Now, we still are looking for the second item. We found a bomb upgrade inside Thieves Town as Xyrak gets ready to head on downstairs. And without the key, we now know that either the key is going to be in one of 2 locations. It's either going to be in the maiden cell, or it will turn out to be inside the big chest.
It is always nice to see it in that big chest, because I always hate coming here without the hammer, and if it's in that big chest, it gives me, okay, I don't have to worry about that item.
Fred getting bothered by the Gibdos, has to walk away from the Wallmaster. Alright. This is either item 2, the big key, or is nothing in particular. It's a small key. That means the remainder of this dungeon is fire rod blocked. Which does mean that we do have 2 items that are going to be fire rod blocked. The remaining item here, plus the green pendant.
Yep, that is true. And, you know, we don't know when we're going to end up getting that item, too. So it could be a while before we have that.
Maybe we'll find it here. No, we'll find the magic cape, though. We're going to find out really fast what it's going to yield on Fred's side, though. Oh, no, it's not. He's heading right straight for the Village of Outcasts. Never mind.
Yeah, Fred's not liking that bumper cave check right now.
So if we're going to find out what's that bumper cave, we're going to have to wait for Xyrak to go ahead and check it. As Fred goes ahead and checks the Village of Outcast, we already know from Xyrak what's in this area here. So nothing in particular, as he now faces off against Blind.
And see, one thing that is nice, if things do get hairy, you can just go ahead and equip that cape that he just found. Because he does have half magic, but will not need it.
Yeah, it was getting a little crazy, though. As the compass comes from Blind, and we have ourselves our first crystal picked up by Xyrak at the 25-minute mark. And very likely we're going to see Fred head on over towards the Thieves Town coming up next as well.
And Xyrak's probably going to be kind of swapping places with Fred, going to be doing some of the northern checks. And we probably will see what's at that bumper cave here in a moment.
Yeah, he's beelining it for that bumper cave right now. He wants to know very well what we have here in the bumper cave. Is there anything important? It is a heart container. Well, it's important, but not for these runners.
Yeah, that's one of those items where it's like, you know, heart containers are nice, but you don't want to traverse like 3 or 4 screens just to get it. So we're going to probably pass on that.
Absolutely. It looks like Xyrak is going to be heading into Skullwood, so he will have the lamp as well. And remember, neither of these runners had investigated what's inside the lumberjack tree. This could still be an Aghanim requirement.
That is true. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, most runners will not check the lumberjack tree until they have those boots. And, you know, boots could be within logic right now, and that will put lumberjack tree completely in the logic, and there could have been an item up there this whole time.
Well, at this point, I'm likely to see either of these runners. They're going to go check that when they head up to Death Mountain. Which one of these runners head over there, I don't know at this point. We are starting to run out of options, though, where they can go that isn't up that mountain. I take that back, because we still do have a few options.
Yeah, that's right.
We can hammer the pegs, head on over towards the Palace of Darkness, as well as the Pyramid. Catfish is also still in the cards at this point.
And let's not forget about those one-off locations we talked about earlier. We have the Mushroom, we have Agina's Cave.
Yeah. And the longer this goes, I sit here and wonder whether or not Agina is actually got something important. He very well could.
Definitely. Yeah, literally, Spear 1, well, Spear 2 for the Mushroom, but Spear 1 location in Agina's Cave, anything could be there.
It does look to me at this point that Xyrak is going to be heading on over towards the Palace of Darkness, because he is heading over here towards this portal. That would give me a big presumption that he's getting ready to do that, because there's really nothing else for him to check that's down this way.
Yeah, I think we're going to the Palace of Darkness Pyramid area.
Let's first head to the pyramid. Let's see what's on the pyramid for these runners. Could be something important, might be something unimportant.
How this has been going, I wouldn't be surprised to see another 300 rupee upgrade.
Alright, well, it turns out to be bombs, so there's more ammunition for Fred if he ever decides to head that way, to go ahead and just chuck it wherever he feels like it. Xyrak's gonna go check Catfish.
Usually when you make that pyramid check, this is probably the best chance you have to go pay a visit to Catfish, so I can understand wanting to get this one-off location out of the way.
Just a shame that we do not have the mirror, because otherwise that would make routing in this mushroom a little easier, but unfortunately we don't. So Catfish we go.
You know, we could always get a mirror right here. You never know.
What are you saying? We're gonna get a mirror here?
You know what? Yes, let's get a mirror here.
Alright, here we go. Fred getting the crystal out of the Thieves town. Xyrak checking Catfish. And it turns out to be red mail. So it's the clothing store of Hyrule today.
I do like the red kind of ball and chain guard sprite, though. I just love the gold one.
Looks like Xyrak is heading up to Death Mountain at this point, as Fred's going to go ahead and check a few spots that we've already seen from Xyrak. He's going to do the digging game, which we know is dig number 30 for 20 rupees, and Xyrak may also be checking the lumberjack tree while he's heading up this direction. Yes, he is.
Okay, we'll know very soon if this is going to be something we'll have to fight Ganon for.
Alright, let's see. It is a red rupee. And Fred says hi.
Hi, Fred. I hope this design doesn't make him run out of digs. Okay, good.
There it is, yeah. Well, it's time for him to go. Everyone say hi to Fred.
Hi, Fred. Don't bomb me.
So he'll head here, he'll head to Hype Cave, and then likely he'll head back over the pyramid as well. Where do you think the progression is, Slim?
Honestly, I'm getting some feelings about that mushroom. I think that mushroom might be our progression here. It'll force our... Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, that mushroom's been calling to us for quite some time now.
Yeah, and I just have a feeling it's going to force our runners to not take advantage of fake powder.
Well, Fred just has 2 bombs exactly. Going to have to be careful how he gets poked around here, this little area. Does get that off perfectly fine. We find a shield on top of Spectacle Rock. What's inside Spectacle Rock? That's 50 rupees. So the answer, not here.
Thankfully,
although we do have one more spot that we neglected.
You know, I am liking this. I think that, yeah, Spike Cave. Not normally you wouldn't think to check here, but yeah, we have a hammer, we have a cape. This could be where something is.
Yeah, we do have half magic as well.
Meanwhile, Fred heading over to the pyramid area. You know, if he dips in the pot, could gain a bit of a slight lead over Xyrak if there is something in the pod.
Bombs turns out to be inside Spike Cave. That's places that so Death Mountain, a buzz for Xyrak. Fred may be on the right path here.
He really might be. Xyrak might be heading over to... okay, this could be fake flipper then.
Yep, he's going to be doing this. This is a check that we already saw from Fred. Now, Fred did not check the waterfall. Waterfall is still a sequence break at this point, but it is a check that Fred did not make. But we already know that Zora has just the boomerang.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the question now becomes, where will the key logic send this?
Maybe it won't even give us a key. Maybe we're done now. No, we're going to keep on going.
the path continues.
Anyway, here's a sequence break check from Xyrak's end.
And he's going to disperse of the golden bee, because he wants to see what this free bottle is going to yield.
The bee is very excited about what the fairy is going to give.
You toss this. Hey, listen.
Ooh.
Hey, I'm going to put a fairy in the bottle this time around.
One of my disciples will join you.
So we get another key. So the chain continues. Now, if Fred finds a key in the big key chest or down in the bottom of the skulls, then we know that this seed wants them to go to the back.
Mm-hmm.
That's the bombos.
Interesting.
That could be important.
Oh!
That's the compass. So that's it. As far as this dungeon is concerned, we are done without the bow, but Fred has other things in mind.
I think we are getting ready to see the potion glitch, ladies and gentlemen.
Xyrak seeing the rupees there, and now knows he has absolutely no reason to go do that. And so Fred's going to try to clear this out. He's going to go ahead and use the bottle, which adjusts the camera. And as you see, the camera's moved over to the right in this room. That allows him to kind of play things out. He's trying to get rid of these mimics here, and, well, he's having a little bit of difficulty doing that at this point. But now he got it cleared out. The room is considered clear that the game knows. We're getting another check here from Xyrak, though.
This is that fabled mushroom check. Forgets to turn in the mushroom and the screen transition first, though.
Nice thing about Pod is that it always gives you a bunch of bombs to work with. And there's the hookshot!
Ooh. Mushroom was the answer.
Death Mountain we go.
And Fred will have to get kind of a very relevant progression item here to even make this worth it, because we have no idea where that bow could be at this point, because the hookshot could just lead to more items and send us in vastly different directions here. That bow could be very varied, so if Fred does not get anything from this check, you know, it could be a bit of a time sink, but something that Xyrak may not have to do later.
I think it really comes down to whether or not that bombos is required right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if we find anything important back here, which would obviously be behind the bow by logic. But we'll see how it goes. As Xyrak checks the Paradox Cave, 7 items inside. There's our sword upgrade and 20 rupees. And Pharaoh with 2 keys in hand knows that that's going to be a key for a key in the Haunted Hellway. As there can't be any keys coming up in this room here in the maze room. Titan's bit upstairs here in the Paradox Cave.
Yeah, that witch holding the hookshot really was just a huge rope.
Flippers in pod!
Ooh, okay, that's interesting. That is actually really interesting.
We know we need those flippers for Swamp.
And by logic, we know we need them for Ice Palace, too.
That's correct. The one thing, though, that's beyond the bow block.
And because of that, we know that the bow is not going to appear in those dungeons. So, you know, if that happens to be our go mode item, we don't have to worry about doing Ice Palace or full clears of Swamp.
So now we see Xyrak heading into the Tower of Hera. So Fred comes up big in one way, but he needs to turn that mushroom in, and hopefully he'll think about doing it once he's done with the waterfall check here. And he goes ahead and throws a bomb into the pond for good reason at this point. And yep, he is going to go ahead and turn that mushroom in, which will lead him up to Death Mountain.
So, all things considered, he's not really too far behind Xyrak here, because, yeah, once he gets that hook shot, I imagine he's going to make a V-line straight for Death Mountain again.
And again, it all really comes down to whether or not he pulled out gold via the bombos and the flippers. Once again, the flippers is not as big of a deal at this point because of where it is by logic. But the bombos is before the bow block.
That is correct, it was, yeah.
And there's Fred going and grabbing his hook shot. He is now off his way to Death Mountain.
Meanwhile, Xyrak finishing up the rest of the Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that Master Sword's going to make things a little easier for this upcoming fight against the Moldworm.
Yeah, I believe he can use 3 Master Sword spins to very quickly take him out.
Yeah, he's got the hammer all set and ready to go as well. Fred does not check the lumberjack tree just yet. He may not be thinking about doing that until he gets the boots.
Yeah, understandable.
And that's 3 nice hammer hits there for Xyrak. He is done with the Moldworm fight. Now, did we see both items here in the Tower of Hera?
I want to say we did, but
I
don't know, we'll
cannot
have to see what he
say.
does.
I cannot say that with conviction. At this point, we don't know.
He's going back in.
He's going back in. There's something downstairs. He's also missing a map. He never opened up this chest. Okay.
Oh, there's the map.
Yep. So we gotta go downstairs. As a runner, what goes through your mind when you have to deal with this tile room?
Why, oh why do I have to do this tile room? That's what goes through my mind anyway.
Why, oh why must it be this way?
But you know, considering where Tower of Hera fits into the logic here, at least you can be somewhat comforting in the fact that, oh, my opponent will probably be doing this too.
But Fred has been known to gamble too, so it could very well be possible that he skips this.
This is true. This is very true.
But it's just bombs.
Well, Fred does need bombs right now. Kind of low again.
I wonder why.
I wonder why you do.
Xyrak's having some issues here. We're trying to get out of the Tower of Hera.
If only he had the mirror or the convenience of low health to get a death warp, but unfortunately he doesn't.
Yeah, that's what happens when you end up doing the Tower of Hera. If you do Tower Room after killing off Moldorm, you end up coming back in with full health, and the game says, hey, yeah, you got full health. Guess what? We're not going to make this easy for you.
Nope, not at all. So one kind of benefit Xyrak has from clearing out Spike Cave already is he can actually just walk over here and do Spiral Cave. Because sometimes when you have all the items you need to clear both of those caves, you kind of have a choice, okay, which direction should I go down? And, you know, if you leave something behind, there's always that possibility you could forget about it. So, thankfully, he doesn't have to worry about that.
It's time for us to go take a walk around a spiral. Sit here and wonder what exactly we're gonna find down here. Hey, it's just a piece of heart.
It did refill them, so that's nice.
Alright, Dark World time. So, as you remember, we found a bombos inside the Palace of Darkness. Where did we find Quake? It was really early, wasn't it?
I believe that was in the Kakariko well, along with the mushroom.
Yes, you are right. Yep. That's exactly where it was. So we have 2/3 of our medallions already known at this point where they are.
The thing is, though, we do not have the Canis of Maria, so even if we could open up Turtle Rock, can't really do anything in there right now.
Alright, let's see what we have inside. We have a piece of heart. We have a red rupee. 4 more spots left to go here on Death Mountain for Xyrak.
Now we go on to... Oh, first we're going to check the medallion.
Yep, since this is a crystal, we know we're going to come here with that, and that is the Quake, which we already have.
Still an opportunity for Mire to have that ether medallion.
Alright, we see ourselves with a piece of heart. We see ourselves with the fire rod.
Ooh!
The cane of Samaria. And no mirror.
No mirror, but that did just open up Turtle Rock, technically.
Yep. Do you go inside? Now, obviously, you got to walk back around if you decide to do so. And it looks like Xyrak's going for it.
I mean, you got the items for it, you know?
Yeah, the seed just gave you 2 of the 3 items you need to beat it, so you might as well follow the breadcrumbs at this point.
And, you know, the bow could easily be in there, so... Yeah, I think this is a really good play on Xyrak's part.
Fred dealing with Turbo Moldorm gets him tackled down, though, without falling, which is good. Neither of these runners getting a Moldorm fall, though. So that's good news.
Yeah, it's always rough when Moldorm wakes up on the wrong side of Tower of Hera, so it's always nice when you can kind of have a nice and easy fight with him.
So Fred going back in, he's not going to gamble. Xyrak getting dead rocked.
Getting dead rocked again.
And he's going to go ahead and collect his things, go inside the cave, and reset these 2. If anybody in chat knows any good recipes for dead rock, Xyrak would love to know your recipes at this moment. Please go ahead and DM them to him once we are done with this race. Don't do it now, though.
Yeah. Preferably not now.
So Fred's starting to beat himself up. Understandable. This is not an option that Xyrak had. Remember, he got the fairy out of the waterfall.
That is true, so Fred will be able to do a death warp here. Still has to waste some hearts, though, because he is still wearing the blue mail, which, you know, still take less damage, but still...
Yeah, it's
better
easier than
mail.
having the red mail. So what's your thoughts on a 48-minute Turtle Rock Slim?
I'm not surprised. Usually when they give you Turtle Rock items immediately, you know, I think it's the best place to check because it's a dungeon, it has 5 items. If you have the mirror, it's 6, so it's a good check. So, you know, I'm not surprised.
Once Fred's done with this, he will have everything he needs to go into... Oh, we found ourselves a book. Fred will have everything he needs to go into Ice Palace.
That's right, he will, for sure.
Now, technically, Xyrak can go ahead and do the same thing because you can sequence break yourself into Ice Palace without any sort of problems. We are still missing the mirror in order to know where we can go for Swamp Palace access, but we'll see that probably come up in any time now.
Yeah, this is true. I saw chat kind of mentioning this earlier, but it is kind of unfortunate that they both took the bottom part of the Warp to Dark World in the bottom of Death Mountain, because they will both have to do that loop around again just to get into Turtle Rock, but there's no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing.
Yeah, you have no way of knowing that you're going to get 2 of the 3 items for Turtle Rock at this point. You could maybe think, well, maybe I can pop in here later on. I'll just open up the portal, but still, it's an interesting decision to do that, and you still got to go through Spiral Cave anyway. You don't want to leave that behind because there could be something important in there.
That's true. That's very true.
Like, you leave behind Spiral Cave, it has something like the mirror, for example, and now it becomes a loose square.
I'm not going to comment on that, but yes, that is very true.
It's going to get harder for you to get back there, and even harder if you forget it, which was the case in the one that you didn't want to comment about, which was my run, as Fred ends up picking up his piece of heart, and soon we'll have the Fire Rod as well as the Can of Samaria.
And I'm wondering what he's thinking. He actually still has to check Spike Cave, so he's probably thinking, I'll go over here first before I do anything else.
Exactly. This is an end point for him regardless, so you might as well make this your final decision at this point.
It is interesting that you mentioned earlier the fact that Fred can get into Ice Palace, because at this point, like, Fred is completely covered for Ice Palace in more than ways than one. So he may opt to just, after this, he could go over there, and if he finds something major and Xyrak finds nothing up here, Fred could gain a bit of an advantage in another way again.
The only thing we know that Fred's not going to find out of all this is the bow.
That is true.
He could very well find at this point the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, if the mirror's inside Ice Palace, then we know definitely that none of the mirror spots will have the bow either.
It's a good way to narrow down like where certain items are when you do sequence breaks. That's how a lot of runners take advantage of sequence breaks, because they kind of think of, okay, what can't be behind here? And then later when they're looking for one more item, they know where to look. They know not to like kind of waste time on checks that definitely won't yield that item.
You know the bad thing that's going on here though, Slim?
What is that bad thing going on, Rick?
For both of these runners, the Ether Tablet is going to become a loose square.
Yes, that is true. That is a very unfortunate truth.
And it's going to be super annoying to get that unless we find the mirror in these final chests of Turtle Rock. Well, there's the boots. But the problem with that is that, it could very well have something important there inside that Ether medallion, and it's going to be just a little bit annoying. Now, yeah, getting those boots are going to be nice. It makes it a little less annoying, but still, you got to walk around to get to it.
That's right, and that we're still looking for that bow. We're looking for that mirror. We're looking for flute actually as well. Anything could be there. I don't think anything's preventing that in the logic right now.
Let's take a look at things at this point. Just trying to think of this stage in the run. We found the book, but now that puts Desert Palace on the table.
It does.
which means flute could very well be on that pedestal. We've got the fire rod. That puts Skull Woods on the table. Now we don't know where the bow is. So that's the one major thing that still comes into play. Xyrak's still got the fairy in a bottle, so this is not anything really tense at this point, even though he's got 3.5 hearts.
Yeah, he can try to be a little aggressive right here, and if that doesn't work out, then he can play, you know, a little safer. Plus, he has red mail too, so.
And it doesn't matter what mail you have. Trinex does hit for a truck, but he's one more hit away, I believe. Yep, there it is. All right, Trinex is going to be dropping an item. What is it? Bloomerang. That's crystal number 3 for Xyrak, Fred in tow. But Fred has knowledge of what's inside the Palace of Darkness, and we know that Xyrak has to get in there. The bombos may never be required, but those flippers will be.
Yeah, those flippers are going to be important. We will need those for Swamp Palace. We cannot fake flipper around that dungeon.
Wouldn't it be nice if we found a glitch that was able to do that?
I can't even imagine what the no major glitches world record would be after that.
I wouldn't have to worry about 500 rupees at that point.
Exactly, and then just again, so much, you know, being able to just hit Swamp Palace immediately.
I do want to point out that because both of these runners turned in the mushroom, in fact, they had to turn in the mushroom, we were not going to see the powder glitch.
That's right. And, you know, that's the way it is sometimes. Sometimes, you know, you're just not going to be given that opportunity to use that trick, and the powder is required for an item. That could be huge.
We get a heart container from our good old friend Agina, so that takes care of, I believe that was the last of the Spirit 1 checks we had.
That is correct.
So Xyrak's going to go check Desert, and he's going to go ahead and do this in this fashion here, since we don't have the mirror. We don't know where the mirror turns out to be. We know where a heart container is, though. That's a mean-looking menu.
Yeah, it really is.
And here's the funny thing. If we find the mirror, like, for example, we find the mirror here in Desert Palace, Mimic Cave could still be a possibility to have something.
Yeah, that's another really nasty one-off that we have on Death Mountain still.
Well, at least that would get them back up to check the ether tablet.
Mm-hmm. And with the mirror, like, it'd be a little easier to route in the ether tablet check too, so.
Well, let's see if we have anything interesting inside of this Desert Palace. Big chest has the compass.
Oh, we're gonna get one item on the right side at the very least.
Yeah, Xyrak knows this, so he's going to go ahead and do this. He was hoping maybe to find one of the items there so he could just go right straight to the Lamos. Alright, here we go. That's a red bottle. That is not what we want to see. It's great for health, but it's not what we want to see. Desert Palace, a bust.
Yeah, and he is opting not to finish off Lanmo, but, you know, at this point, you could probably find some progression elsewhere that'll allow you to kind of get back there easier, and, you know, we may not need the pedestal, so I'm not really worried about that right now.
Yeah, he may end up going to check if he decides that he's going to go maybe do a Skull Woods play here, because don't forget, we still got one item in the dungeon and the one item at Sahasrara. So we go ahead and check King's Tomb. King's Tomb! Sword number 3. Always nice to find that sword.
Oh yeah, once you have tempered sword and especially here silver arrows, you know you're not going to have a problem with the final boss. So you can at least get some comfort there.
And Fred having to go through the safety door, make sure that he's okay, down to a heart and a half. And he does not have a fairy as a backup option, so he's going to take the death right there. Bonk Rocks have a piece of heart, and so Xyrak's next play, I wonder where he's going. He's thinking about it. There we go.
He does have some options. He can go back in for that last skullwort side in his
Head check. Head check.
Oh, pet check as well. That's right.
Well, the flute could be there. We know the bow can't be there. The ether could. I think the mirror could be there.
Yeah, I think it should be able to be there.
All right, guys. Is the pedestal going to be required for this seed? Couch
Nope.
cash. Not a ped seed.
Lemno 1 will be living today.
And that's good news. Or at least Xyrak believes that's good news, because now he can not have to worry about that. So Fred taking care of this fight here. Going to go ahead and use his blue goo in a bottle, which is a good decision at this point. You definitely don't want to take a death to Trinex. I think Xyrak's making the play here for Skull Woods to finish that dungeon off.
I think he is too. He's in the area. If he doesn't get it, he can also do the blacksmith check south of Village of Outcasts. So, he's in a good place where he can make these checks.
Fred, his options are different at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He's got several more options that he has available to him. For instance, his next play, he could head for Ice Palace. And remember, that's because he did the sequence break with the bottle glitch.
Mm-hmm. Although I am really, really thinking right now, like, where on Earth this bow could be, because there's not many other, like, there aren't many options of where that could be at this point.
It'll be in the last place we think of. And with every single item that we find, it opens up the possibilities where it could be. If we find the mirror, that opens up the possibility that it could very well be like the Graveyard Ledge, or somewhere else that is very fun to get to. Looks like he swung and missed on that first attempt to dash into Mothula, but it looks like he's doing pretty well here, and that's a beautiful fight there for Xyrak. Is this the second item? No, it's the compass, so the other chest will have our second item of Skullwoods.
Or the green pendant will have our next item.
Oh, I think at this point, because Xyrak's only got one item out of here, he's checking that last chest.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Fred's going to go ahead and check Lumberjack Cave at this point. This is the first time he's had every item needed to get to it, so he's going to go ahead and check this to see what we have. Looks like Stunned Price Pack, by the way, is hearts. And we find... Oh, that is not going to be the item. It's going to be the key. Guess where the item is.
It's going to be in the big key... or the big chest, not the big key chest.
Absolutely. So it looks like Fred is going to take that same path as Xyrak did. Head on over towards the Gina, check Desert, because he's playing the breadcrumbs at this point.
Yeah, he is, and it's very sensible to do that. And unfortunately, he doesn't know this, but kind of following the breadcrumbs is what Xyrak's doing. And Xyrak does have a small bit of a lead right now because of this. So if he keeps following Xyrak, it could be a bit before he actually is able to catch up completely here.
Yeah, where Fred's going to catch up is when Xyrak has to go into the Palace of Darkness. There's our mirror.
Ooh, okay, we found the mirror at Skullwoods.
That also now opens up the Bombos tablet. So 3 new spots have opened up to us over here. It also opens up the Mimic Cave.
Yes, it does, and that would just be, you know, I don't think I would have ever seen that before. Like, I don't think I've ever seen that before, where you basically had to complete Turtle Rock and then come back later for something in Mimic Cave.
All right, Graveyard Ledge. This spot has had some items in the past, so maybe it does today. Does it today?
Yep.
There it is. There's the bow. Great decision by Xyrak, coming right straight here.
I can only imagine that he's, at this point, thinking, there's 2 dungeons I can fully clear right now. Or at least 1 crystal dungeon, maybe look in the pendant for some items. And he could be heading over in that way very soon.
So we're down to needing the flute. The flute now being the big component. And with that mirror in hand, that does also open up Swamp Palace as our potential locations. But Xyrak's going to take this Titan's Mint and Hammer. Nope. He's going to go ahead and do the trading sequence.
So at this point, the only item that's kind of a huge question mark right now is the flute. Now, we also don't know what the medallion is going to be for Misery Mire either, because we don't have the flute yet. But, you know, we're kind of 1, maybe 2 items away from go mode at this point.
And therefore, we also now know that that Bombos was a red herring.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of red, that was a red rupee. And Freddy getting the word that this is not a pedestal required seed, and he will go ahead and don the pedestal with a pair of bombs as Xyrak picks up some rupees. Looks like Fred's hot on the tail here. We'll go to Skull Woods next. This seems like a seed that's forcing them in directions.
Yes, it's forcing them in many different directions.
And just to answer the comments in chat regarding Fred and the bombs, he's been bombing everything this seed. It doesn't matter if it was 5 minutes into the seed or an hour and 8 minutes into the seed.
It started with the sick kid, and it's been going on ever since.
That poor sick kid.
All he wanted to do was show Fred his love and admiration for the Zelda 1 and SMB3 randomizer. He didn't have to bomb him.
Looks like Fred is opting not to go right into Skull Woods, and this will unfortunately be taking Fred down the path he doesn't need to go to, as Xyrak likely going to turn in this chest, and the next stop for him after this is going to go see what the Bombos tablet yields.
Yeah, this is unfortunate, because again, heart container on the purple chest. Because Xyrak has the mirror, he could have very easily made this check, and since Fred is doing this first, he has to save and quit, and then kind of run his way back to all these locations, which just in general takes a bit longer.
Yeah, he's hoping that the answer isn't inside of a pendant dungeon, but guess what? The answer's in a pendant dungeon, like the one he explored earlier.
Yeah, and, you know, that's not the first time that's happened in this seed. There's also 2 other items in Pod, another pendant dungeon, so... Speaking of which, that seems to be the area Xyrak is heading to next.
Yeah, he's gonna go turn in this pendant first, though, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And don't forget, we still have one more item left in Eastern. Xyrak has not explored Eastern yet, so he still got everything to explore here. But let's go ahead and see what Sahasrara has.
More red potion.
Fred's totally gonna bomb him for that.
Yeah, I think he will.
He is heading for Skull Woods, though.
This is true, and here is the interesting thing about kind of Fred's position right now. He'll get the Mire, he'll most likely get Bow right after that. He's probably not going to go right back to Palace of Darkness or Eastern because, you know, he has a whole dungeon available to him that could have a lot of items. He could gain some significant time back because he'll just be able to pop back into Eastern to finish that whenever he wants, basically.
Yeah, he's going to do that together with the Palace of Darkness, and he's not going to do that until he absolutely needs to at this point, because the sequence break that he did earlier dried up Palace of Darkness of its value. And plus him diving into Eastern early also dried that up of its value as well. So there's nothing in here for Fred to get.
This is true.
Now, maybe Fred doesn't go all the way with this. Maybe he just gets this big key and decides to go right straight out.
That would help him.
For Fred, getting the bow will answer the sequence break, because then he will know that the flippers that he got is in logic now. And therefore, the next stop, he could go for swamp. He could go for ice.
Either of those locations could have the flute that our runners are going to be looking for, so would be a good item to find in one of those two dungeons.
Oh, Fred going up against this Mothula fight. Does get the first hit on him. Getting him staying out of the corner at least a little bit, but still has to be a little bit careful here of his health. Down to a heart. Switches on over to his right in the bottle there, so he'll go ahead and use that to stay alive. Gets the Mothula down, and won't be happy to find the compass there.
I would say he would bomb Mothula, but he kind of destroyed Mothula, so probably not going to happen.
Well, he could bomb the spikes, but at some point he's going to have to be mindful of where his bomb counts are.
Yeah. Still some bomb locations out there, so shouldn't waste them all.
I think this is going to become part of the key part here for Fred's run. Does he go for Graveyard Ledge immediately? Looks like Xyrak was trying to do spin speed, unfortunately didn't get the trigger right, and unfortunately will just dash his way around the corners. So Fred now heading to grab his Mire. And down in a hole. And there's the Mire there for Fred. He will pull that out and leave this dungeon. But, you know, this seed put Graveyard Ledge so close, so therefore there's no reason for him not to check this at this point.
I wonder, did he ever see what was on Bumper Cave?
I believe, yes, he did, because he's not going back there.
Okay. I hope that's the reason, anyway.
Well, I want to say that he did.
I know Xyrak did, because that's how we found out for sure that Cape was not needed.
Now, don't forget, Fred still has yet to do Catfish. He could very well go there next. So there's the bow for Fred, and he surprisingly doesn't dispense a bomb there, given the fact that this thing gave him an extra 3 bombs to play with. So Fred now completely in sequence. Where does he go to next? Do the Armos Knights have something? We're going to find out right away. No, they do not. 50 rupees.
Okay, Fred is going back to Eastern to finish it off.
He's going to go to the portal first, and then he's going to go check the Sahas for the green pendant. No, he's going to go straight to Eastern. He's not going to go to the Palace of Darkness. He's got no reason to go to the Palace of Darkness at this point. Xyrak has every reason to go into the Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, and by the time Fred finishes this, him and Xyrak are going to be quite even. I mean, aside from like locations checked, but in terms of crystals and just general dungeon checks, they're going to be really, really close.
And it all comes down to one big question, Slim.
Where is that flute?
Absolutely. This seems like this race right now can be summed up by saying first to flute will have a pretty good chance of winning.
I would agree with those sentiments.
And that both of these runners know that the pedestal is not going to be required. I would have to assume that Xyrak is out of here once he gets the flippers.
Yeah, more than likely. The only question is, did Fred get all the items in here before? I wasn't really keeping count back then, because it was kind of like, well, watching two screens, and also just, you know, back then we knew we couldn't finish it.
So it's an interesting development here. Xyrak is banking on the big key chest to have an item, or to have a key.
Well, unfortunately, it has that Bombos medallion.
Right up against the Armos Knights. And we have now completely gone full circle.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, just a lot. Palace of Darkness only had rupee items. Or, no, Eastern Palace, my bad.
Not every day you see a runner with 1,400 rupees.
Definitely not.
Well, if they went to Zora, they would have that many rupees, but, well, Fred already went to Zora.
Uh-oh, here we... He knows that he's not going to have anything.
Yeah, he's already got the bombs out, and you're not even going to wait for that bomb to blow up. Fred's on a mission. All right, swamp or ice? Which one is Fred's next turn?
See, with that, you know, if Helmasaur does have an item and Xyrak gets it and it's something important, at this point, Fred does take a slight lead here.
There's the big key there for Xyrak. Fred heading to ice.
This has been... Well, I guess it's kind of been available at the same time. If anything, a little later than Swamp Palace.
Well, it's interesting because the bow is behind the mirror. Maybe he's playing that the flipper version doesn't think that is coming into play with that decision. There's the flipper pickup for Xyrak. He is continuing for now. He doesn't want to leave anything behind in the big chest.
Well, I'd hope he wouldn't, because yeah, there's something in that big key chest.
He's got 2 keys, so he's got to know that there's going to be something in there at this point. There's the big key for Ice Palace. Yeah, there he goes. He's going to pull out the bomb. So there's Xyrak. He will get his bombos now. And a good point that this is not only just for 3 items, but this also is for another 2 items by way of the Pyramid Fairy.
This is true.
And there's Xyrak getting the bombos medallion. Is he done?
Yep.
Yeah, he's got the map still left, so Helmet Star King will not have anything.
Okay, that's good. That's good for, well, both runners. They don't have to worry about that kill because they know pedestal's not required. But honestly, we have a race right now. If Xyrak goes to Swamp, this could be huge.
Absolutely. But he is going in the same direction as Fred.
So with that, Fred does take a slight lead here. Probably about the same lead that Xyrak's kind of had on him throughout this seed.
Almost getting hit into the hole there. Does not want to do that at this point. Little does Fred know how close this race is. And once again, flute is not guaranteed go mode.
It's definitely not. We still need to know that last medallion.
Alright, Fred heading towards the freezer room. Xyrak here heading down to the first basement of Ice Palace. Just a reminder, this is game 1 of a best of 3 series. There's the shovel. Oh god.
Fetch quest Y.
You know, we have ourselves the orange sword, and we haven't made any Star Wars references yet.
Should we start singing the Imperial March then or something? Or
For those who are unknowing what me and Slim are talking about, Fred decides that he's going to put down notes for his matches. When it says notes, Fred decides he's going to put music notes. This time around, it was the Imperial March for match 1. Game 2 is a continuation of the Imperial March. We've seen Super Mario Brothers themes from him, as well as Ode to Joy was another one that he put down.
I think he put Jingle Bells once as well.
Oh goodness, Fred. Why?
I don't know. I guess he just has the Force or something.
The Force may be with him if he can find that flute. But that's not the flute, that's a compass. That would be a key right there. Allowing Fred to go right straight through the door. He's going to fall through the floor once again and check the iced tea room. So Xyrak picking up his shovel. Well, we'll have to see what these runners dig up later on. Xyrak's opting to go to the big key chest at this point. I don't think Fred checked this. And that's the map. Blue cane.
I don't know why I got excited for that. It doesn't exactly open something that Cape's already unlocked.
You just like Brian.
Cane of Brian is the nicest Brian I've ever met.
Looks like by logic, this is going to require the Cane of Samaria by logic because of the fact that are missing a key. So Cold Stir likely to have a key at this point.
Mm-hmm. I think that's also like didn't I want to say Fred skipped the big chest because again I don't count.
Yeah, he took a look at his menu. He saw the map was still with still out there.
Beautiful fight from him too, by the way. That was a really good Cold Star fight.
And there's that key. So Fred opens up the Pyramid Fairy. Could very well be the next step in our chain. Or the answer could be in Swamp. Or it could be an ether medallion or ether tablet. Or Mimic Cave. Or the digging spot.
Yeah, and we still have some locations to go, don't we?
We certainly do. It was a bomb upgrade, so that was the third item. Fred not checking the dig spots, so it'll be interesting to see. Could we have vanilla? You always love it when it's vanilla. Except for when you're running the game.
Yeah, because you know when you run randomizer, you're not exactly thinking vanilla placements for items, so you kind of try to steer away from those locations just so you can essentially full clear them when you do have the items. So seeing something vanilla is not the greatest.
Nice use of the dashing there for Fred with the bomb in tow. That's a nice little trick if you know how to pull it off. I don't. Might be something I have to do to get good when I come up to my match later this week. Xyrak going up against Cold Stare. Let's see how his fight is. There's some more bombs for you, Fred. You can go ahead and use them against the Pyramid Fairy if you choose to.
Or the Death Star Fairy. Ooh.
Oh, there's butter. That's vanilla.
I kind of knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, and I believe we're not going to see Fred dive into swamp just yet. He's going to check catfish.
Yeah, it looks that way.
And that is going to be a place where Xyrak may be able to take an advantage if he chooses not to go for the pyramid.
Yeah, just like that. Again, the race could kind of shift directions again, and that's awesome. It shows just how skilled these runners are, just kind of trading the lead every now and then with their checks and still being really close to each other.
One thing I gotta be concerned with Xyrak at this point is the fact that he's only got one bomb. But you do get bombs in Swamp Palace. They kind of make it easy for you to pick up some additional ones, so it's not that big of a deal at this stage. But is he going to go check the Pyramid Fairy? No, he's going
south.
Straight for Swamp. The game is on, friends.
It is.
That butter is not a huge advantage, by the way. It's not a huge advantage. Both of these runners are very skilled at this game to the point where that butter really doesn't give them much of a timed advantage.
Yeah, it might save like a second or two here and there, but yeah, it's really not that huge. But at the same time, I mean, looking at how close this race is, Xyrak just entered Swamp. Fred has to do the cutscene here. He's not far behind him right now at all. Yeah,
this is an extremely close race, and anything can happen at this point. For all we know, Swamp may not be the play.
This is true. Also, for once, Xyrak has less bombs than Fred.
I know, which is remarkable given the fact that Xyrak has been playing, or Fred's been playing Bomberman all the game.
Yeah, really.
Like, I, for one, am still sitting here with the idea that we could have to go still up to Death Mountain.
We could.
And this game would be a big fat jerk if it decided, hey, look, we got to go through Turtle Rock a second time to get to Mimic Cave.
And the funny thing is, like, the flute, like, we could find the flute in here, and there might be a medallion still in Mimic Cave that we might need. So, it's, definitely not over, even if we find the flute.
Absolutely. Like, we're starting to run out of locations, but the locations that we still have are so widely spaced. That's a compass. That's not what we need. And I think at this stage, the play that you might see some runners do, it doesn't look like that's what Xyrak's going to do, Fred might opt to do it, is to go straight back to Argus.
This is true, yeah. If Fred goes north first, there's an item there. Xyrak's going to spend a little extra time on this left side, which may not be necessary.
Well, Xyrak might be choosing to do this at this point because he just found the compass, which is what Fred's about to get right now. So he knows that there's something on that left side.
Right. This is true.
But if I'm Fred at this point, I'm thinking he may go right to Argus. Yep,
Yeah.
that is exactly where he's going.
We have a route divergence.
An hour 30 in. One of these two may just get lucky in just about 30 seconds from now. Alright, let's check to see what we have. Xyrak and Fred. Fred finds big key. And magic powder!
Whoa!
That could be a fetch quest. Map on the left side here of swamp. Fred coming up to the waterfall. There's
Medallion!
the Ether Medallion!
So Fred needs, once he gets the flute, he will be in go mode officially. I mean, Xyrak will probably be in that boat too shortly. But yeah, we're just looking for the flute now.
Either of these runners faked powder. They couldn't. It turned out that the Cane of Samaria was on Dark Death Mountain in the Hookshot Cave. Something is missing, the big key apparently. So we didn't have the opportunity to do so because the mushroom yielded the Hookshot.
Yep, that Cane of Samaria was in Hookshot Cave pretty deep in, so there was no way fake powder could have been done. Yeah, there's no way, like, even with hovers, it couldn't have been done because of where the boots were.
All right, here we go. Fred grabbing the mirror, getting that ready to go. And Argus drops a bomb upgrade. And there's Xyrak getting the magic powder as well as the big key. Is he going? Yeah, he's going to go for the big chest. He has to. He's already done the left side.
I hate that staircase.
I hate that staircase too. By the way, did we see the map?
I think the map
Fred's
was on the left side.
It could, yeah. You're right. Yep. So, big chest, piece of heart. Alrighty, so Xyrak with the magic powder in hand, about ready to go up against Argus. Fred going here through swamp, checking the big chest, finds a piece of heart. He's got to go ahead and take care of this left side. Xyrak about to get the Ether Medallion here, so we are now one item away from go mode guaranteed.
Mm-hmm. Where is that flute, Rick? Where is that flute?
Where the duck is that flute?
And now, one thing that Fred kind of has at his disadvantage right now is he has not checked Desert Palace yet.
Yes, he has.
Really?
Yep, he did. He did that right after... Like, he did it kind of mirroring Xyrak. It was about the same time that Xyrak found the boat.
Okay, yeah, you're right, he did. That's right.
Bomb upgrade there for Xyrak. Xyrak is done. So Xyrak has a little bit of a lead. Now, Fred has some overworld things that he has not checked just yet. He has not done the purple chest. I don't think he's done Peg Cave yet either.
And by that same coin, Xyrak still needs to do Pyramid Fairy.
And that's exactly where he's heading to right now. So Fred getting the knowledge there, the map is remaining, he can leave. Okay. We are running out of locations at this point. Looks like Fred is going to go check the Bombo's medallion. It's not where it is. My goodness, Slim. Where is this flute?
I don't know. You know, that we got that powder inside Swamp. I'm thinking that maybe that could be it. I mean, we couldn't fake powder earlier, so there's got to be something there.
Well, Fred hasn't done Agina just yet, so he'll get very disappointed, and he will go ahead and bomb Agina too, so be ready for that.
I'm always ready for Fred to bomb some NPCs.
There it is. Hi, Agina.
Bye, Agina.
Okay, the race is on, friends.
It is.
Where are we going, Fred? We're going to start at the Sanctuary. Xyrak is going to the Mountain Cave. We are going to get a Ether Medallion check.
Ether and maybe Mimic Cave?
Is Xyrak that crazy to go check Mimic Cave 2 at the same time?
Well, again, you know, if it's there, like, that's going to be a pretty significant lead, I'd imagine, at this point.
Absolutely. That's guaranteed go mode at this point. Okay, so we've got some interesting developments here in this race. Again, First to Flute has a huge lead at this point. Now, once again, Fred has a few checks over here that he still has yet to do, so he's going to check the magic bat at some point. Ether tablet drops a piece of heart.
He hasn't warped out. He's going to the east side.
Oh my god. Are we really doing this? We are doing this.
It's, unless there's one other location we've forgotten, it's either Mimic Cave or Magic Bat.
Shovel.
Shovel, yep.
And Fred's going to be checking that soon too when he's got this purple chest.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Magic Bat time. As Xyrak goes into Turtle Rock, one of these two is going to find the flute first. Is it at the Magic Bat? No! Fred, you're down to one bomb. Please remember that. So Fred, because he needs his magic portal back, it's going to go back through here. But his next stop after this is going to be the Shovel Spot, K45, or the South of Haunted Grove, Purple Chest. And it's at that point we will know whether or not Xyrak's on the right path. Oh, Xyrak goes on the wrong tube first. Muscle memory is a bitch. Slim, which one do you think it is?
I'm gonna go with Mimic Cave. It's got to be this. I've never seen like this type of progression before with Mimic Cave. It's got to be this.
The double dip of Turtle Rock is on, and one of these two is about to find the flute. Is it Xyrak? Is it Fred? One of these two is about to get into go mode. It's not there. Xyrak's gonna get lucky. And
there's the flute.
And at 1 hour 39, 8 seconds, Xyrak, the first of these two, into
go mode. Wow. The progression of this seed.
And bear in mind, Turtle Rock did not have to be explored twice. They could have very well taken that fire rod on over to Skull Woods. But little did they know that that was how the seed was going to go.
Yeah, I mean, again, it seemed like a good call at the time because you had all those items for Turtle Rock. You were on Death Mountain, that's so stacked with items, and you know that one item in Skull Woods. That's the reason why they didn't go there. It was just one item versus 5, and turns out that one item was the chain they needed to get this seed moving.
Absolutely. The mirror in the big chest of Skull Woods that led to the continuation of the progression. And it turned out to be ether needed for Misery Mire.
Okay, so good they picked that up.
Well, let's see how long this mire is going to take. Now, Fred, obviously, because he decided to check what for him was more items, but they were all in the same general area. He's going to be about 2 to 3 minutes behind Xyrak at this point.
Yeah, he's gonna have definitely a lot of ground to make up here. You know, a lucky gamble in Ganon's Tower could make up some difference. And again, like a few seconds with the gold sword, but you know, he's gonna have to have some really solid execution the whole way through, and again, have to get kind of lucky if he wants to kind of get back into contention here. This is just a very unfortunate place for that flute to end up.
And Fred knows that the flute is here. This is not a gamble for him. He knows that it has to be here. He's out of all the other locations at this point. Xyrak hoping for a God Mire at this point. Is the big key going to be inside this chest? Yes, it is. This is a God Mire. Well, we were earlier saying about how it's possible that Mimic Cave could have progression.
Yep, and here we are. Both runners taking that early dip in Turtle Rock because it was statistically a really good play for them to make. But then just because they didn't have that mirror, forced a double dip of the dungeon for both runners. And that's not one location you want to go back to ever.
Oh, Xyrak's pulled out the fire rod, so we may be seeing him do some of the new Mire tech stuff. Yeah, he got it. You didn't know. We didn't have the chance to really comment about it, but what you may have seen Xyrak do is do a dash at the same time he laid down that Cane of Samaria block, which allowed him to skip one room here of this basement of Misery Mire.
Really solid Vitreous fight from his end, too.
And Vitreous, quite an easy fight. And for more safety, let's drop the bug catching net. So Fred is behind by a dungeon as Xyrak finishes off with Misery Mire. Slim, it's time to play a game.
Yes, it is. Hello, everybody in Speed Gaming. We are playing a little game right now. There are 22 chests inside Ganon's Tower. One of those 22 locations can have the big key. In chat, you are going to guess which numbered location you think is going to have that big key.
Now, if you are a subscriber or a supporter of the Speed Gaming channels, you're eligible to make it onto a leaderboard. It's all for fun at this point. Fred having to buy some more bombs. You know, that's what happens when you start deciding to bomb all the NPCs at this point. Fred is upset, taking it out in the Cuckoos as Xyrak makes his way up to the tower. But if you are a subscriber or a supporter of speed gaming by giving out 250 or more bits to any of the 5 speed gaming channels that get you on eligible for the leaderboard. It's all for fun. We all can have a little bit of enjoyment with it. Slim, you usually go with chest number
Ocho, also known as 8.
So I'm going to go, in this case, chest number 11. And just because Xyrak's the first one against Tower doesn't mean this race is over with, but it's Xyrak's race to lose at this point.
Yeah, that's right. You know, if it's a case where, you know, there's an item in the right side of Ganon's tower and Xyrak goes straight left, you know, like, it'll still be very, like, hard to make up all this ground, but still, Fred could definitely make some time back with that.
All right, here we go. Right-hand side. Slim, for chest number 1 and 2, what's inside?
Okay, in chest number 1, we got a piece of heart, and in the chest number 2, we have a small key. Looks like Xyrak is going to the right side first.
All right, it's going to take us a little bit to get to chest number 3 because he's not doing the tile room first.
Yeah, never do the tile room first.
You sound like you speak from experience, my friend.
Yes, I certainly do.
So, looks like Fred getting himself through the Mire area here as Xyrak going here to the right-hand side. Chest 3 through 7.
Got a red rupee, a piece of heart, 50 rupees, and a piece of heart.
I can't count. 3, 2, 6.
It's okay, I won't tell anyone.
It's just the problem is that we already have a bunch of eyewitnesses to this. Chest item number 7, Slim.
We have a red rupee on the torch.
So Bob gets to live today.
Okay, here we go. Chest number 8, we have a small key, not quite worth looking for. 9 is 50. 10, another small key, and 11... Wow. Someone guessed that right in this commentary booth.
Chest number 11, if you guess chest number 11, you are the winner here as Fred ends up picking up the crystal out of Misery Mire. He's on his way. And the guy on the couch. Interesting name. You're the closest of the supporters. Congratulations.
And because this is such a Star Wars related match, you win a exact replica, and I say exact replica, of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, is that what that's for? I put it in the dumpster.
Oh, okay, I guess you're not getting a replica of the Millennium Falcon then.
Sorry, they told me to clean up the house after we were done, so that's exactly what I did.
But yeah, Xyrak is starting to go through the gauntlet now. Fred still not on the dark side of Death Mountain, so yeah, definitely Xyrak has a pretty good lead at this point. Something you can definitely feel comfortable with for the rest of this seed, as long as he just stays in control, doesn't let Moldorm 2 or Ganon get the best of him, and he should be fine.
Yeah, this, once again, is Xyrak's race to lose. It's not a done deal until the dones are done, or handed out, or typed in, or quest, or whatever you want to call it. But that is a solid Lammo 2 for Xyrak. 3 silver arrows, 3 kills. And Xyrak still also has the fairy, but like I said, this is a case where it's Xyrak's race to lose. He's got to just make sure that he doesn't get the butterflies at this stage, because you got to remember, both of these runners almost full clear this entire seed.
Yes, this is very, very true. They had to clear so much. That Mimic Cave location, just not something you wanted to have an item on in this particular seed, and there it was.
And as Fred heads on over towards the right-hand side, that pretty much guarantees that there will be no difference in time. Fred won't be able to really gain any time on Xyrak as far as luck is concerned. It's all up to execution at this point. And Xyrak just barely missing out on the chime right there. That would have been bad news if he did that. He would have still had the lead, but it would have been much narrower at that point.
Yeah, that's true. A despawn glitch would have been pretty big and pretty significant at this point in the race.
Yeah, I mean, it would still put Fred back probably about a minute and a minute and a half, but then it really comes down to something here. Xyrak not picking up the magic potion at that point, but, you know, half magic I don't think he's really worried about, especially when he's got the butter sword as well as the silver arrows, as Moldworm tried his best, but Moldworm is dead. And he skips the final chest as well. So this is game 1 of the best of 3 between these two runners. Game 2 tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern. Now time for Agate 2. Slim?
So we have Agate 2 here. Got to get 6 hits on him. Gonna see how many hits we're gonna get in each of the phase. I think we're up to 3, 4 now.
Yeah, I believe that was a double right there.
6 there. 6. There we go. And with that, we are off to the Ganon fight for the last bit of this run. Should be a sub 2-hour seed, all things considered. And with, again, all we had to clear here, that is very impressive.
Yeah, including a double dip of Turtle Rock.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we go. So why is there a lay in the fridge?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I'm glad Ganon asked that.
You know, the interesting thing is that when this race is ran, it's 11:56. It's almost midnight. He's
true.
asking the most appropriate questions for this time of night.
It really is.
My goodness, Slim, I think I need to get a midnight snack now. How about some bacon?
Bacon sounds good. I can do with some bacon right now.
Well, all we need is Xyrak to go ahead and serve us up some.
And he has a lightsaber, so I think that'll do quite nicely in getting rid of him, or getting this bacon on the table.
That's butter. It's just adding cholesterol. That's heading him over to the corner. I believe this is going to do it. There it is. And Xyrak will win match number 1 over fcoughlin. As it raises up the sword, and we now have our buttered bacon served up on a platter.
And it looks like Xyrak is going to be finishing in first place. Takes down Ganon at 1 hour, 53 minutes, and 45 seconds.
So we'll get Xyrak in here, and we'll go ahead and talk to him about this seed as we believe we just heard the sound of him entering the Discord with us. So, GG and congratulations.
Free seed is free, right? Nothing wrong with that one at all. Thanks for the congrats, though.
So you want to know the play that made you win this race?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a very interesting juncture. The both of you had checked the Pyramid Ferry post-swamp. You pretty much had the same things lined up at this point. We knew that it was either going to be, based on the looks, either the dig or the shovel or Mimic Cave. You had already checked the ether, and Fred was on his way down after checking the magic bat. Both of you getting a piece of heart. So as Fred dug the spot about 5 seconds before you opened that chest, we knew where the flute was.
Yep. That was, I mean, I don't know if that's 5 minutes of difference, but yeah, that's, that one, like, races like this are so hard to judge exactly where you're at, because, like, the first 20 minutes of the seed, I felt pretty good, and then there was just this huge dry spot doing Thieves and all that, where nothing was happening, and then I make that mistake of not climbing Death Mountain in the Light World so I could open Turtle Rock, which I realized, like, literally as soon as I stepped on the Dark World portal, I was like, I shouldn't have done this. But I also said to myself, literally out loud, it only matters if Turtle Rock is Quake and Fire Rod and Cane of Samaria are up here somewhere.
Yep, and then of course there it is.
Right, exactly. Lo and behold, which is why I just turned around and went right back up there. And so I was actually worried about Ether Tablet the whole time, because I was like, man, because the book was in Turtle Rock, so I was like, man, if Fred brought Mire up here, like, this could potentially be a really big thing. Never even thinking of the true horror, which is that you needed the mirror from the Cave.
Yeah, which made this an interesting seed, where if you ended up going to Skull Woods before you opted to go into Turtle Rock, there it was. You had your easy access to the Mimic Cave for the flute, but neither of you did. You both pretty much did the same thing. Just like I said, we came down to Fred having the checks over there, and he didn't do the purple chest, and he didn't do the peg cave, which is why he found more value going over to the magic bat first.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess he was... Where was the powder?
It was
Swamp.
in the swamp.
It was in Swamp. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so
Sorry,
when he dug up a shield out of the ground there, that was pretty much the answer. You were about to find flute there in the Mimic Cave, because that was the only spot we had left.
Right.
You
Yeah,
should watch
I mean...
because it was side by side, the fact that you were checking both of those spots at that same time.
Okay. I felt, I don't know, yeah, I mean, I don't know, I guess after I was assured that the flute was in Mimic Cave, I felt pretty good, because I felt like I was pretty efficient in clearing the overworld and stuff otherwise. So I felt all right there, but I was definitely on pins and needles up to that point.
And Fred finishes off the seed, goes to the door, and we can consider the seed completely done. So you take a 1-0 series, and how does this feel considering he beat you in week 7 in a match that didn't really mean that much for you two at that point, but really turned into being a preview for what was to come?
Yeah, it kind of did, I guess. We decided to run all bosses for that race, just for kicks. Fred destroyed me in that, to be quite frank. In that race, he made all the right calls, and I made none of the right calls in the race. So it's nice to be able to turn it around, I guess. Hey, GG, Fred.
You too, sir. Sheesh.
Yeah.
So as I was pointing out to Xyrak, at the same time that you were doing the digging spot, we were down to 2 locations where the flute could be, the digging spot or Mimic Cave, and one of you two were about to get lucky with go mode. turned out not to be the dig spot.
I chose poorly. It's all good.
And again, it's so hard to say like you chose poorly, because for you at that point, like that was your best chance, because you still had to check purple chest, you still had to check peg cave, you had the powder for the magic bat, you had like a statistical advantage at that point.
Oh no, I know that. I was trying to use more of the not Monty Python, but the Indiana Jones line there from Last Crusade with the he chose poorly, as looking at the skull carcass laying on the ground.
Oh, I gotcha.
But why are you going Indiana Jones when your big theme was Star Wars this go around?
Star Wars?
Yes, Mr. Imperial Death March.
Oh yeah, that little thing. Once in a while, I gotta mix it up. Gotta keep you guys on your toes. I mean, Harrison Ford was in both.
That's true.
You should know the amount of minutes we spend trying to analyze your notes in our scheduling meetings.
Well, I'm glad I'm able to keep you guys up for something.
So, what's going on, Mr. Bomberman?
Just trying to decide just how many more chests I can bomb tomorrow night, or ideally get more bombs so that way I can bomb more of them.
Yeah, I love the fact that you had to buy bombs before you went into Misery Mire.
I could have gotten away without it, but yeah, I just wanted to be safe. I think the chest with the flute in it deserved the final bomb. I was contemplating holding on to that to use in Mire, but no, I just said no. That needed a bomb.
So, over to Xyrak, you got to pull off the Mire tag. Was that your first time pulling out the trick, or have you done that in the past?
I mean, I've done it in practice and stuff. This is the first race I've had the opportunity to use it.
Very nice, and you did it pretty well.
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I didn't accidentally flip the crystal switch in the spike room. I had to repeat that in my head. Don't hit that. You had gone Mire. You don't need to hit it. Don't do it. And yeah, didn't do it. So
we also saw some good tech in Palace of Darkness from Fred showing off that potion glitch as well.
Yeah, well, once I was locked out of there anyway, I was already standing there. I said, might as well get that done, hopefully, although I wasn't having a lot of fun with the mimics there to get them in position, but wanted to be able to try to get through. Thought I had a little advantage there for a while, but then with the giant search for the flute, all of a sudden that became that didn't help me at all.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, just because you did find the flippers because of that sequence break, and because of that, you could kind of deduce where that bow would not end up being. And I'd almost say you kind of gained a small bit of an advantage. Xyrak was in the lead for quite a bit, but not by much. Like, whenever he got a crystal, you usually got the crystal about like 3 or 4 minutes later. But then, because Xyrak was kind of checking Eastern Palace and Pod for items, because you'd already taken care of that, you were able to clear Eastern immediately, and you kind of got a bit of a head start on Ice Palace. So it kind of changed a little bit just because you had those flippers when you did, and kind of were able to deduce where the bow was going to end up a little easier.
Yeah, I was hoping to just be able to blitz through Ice and Swamp, thinking to myself, oh, okay, well, the fact that I know Bow's not in there, at this point, really the only thing that could be in either of those is the flute. So let me just keep hunting as if I don't have this, and then as soon as I find it, the logic falls into place, and boom, but I found the bow before the flute, and well, now you guys all know the rest of the story.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like you were happy to see the bow because that put you back in logic, but on the same token, oh no.
Yeah, I was really hoping to find that flute first somehow there. And then I said to myself, if that happened, I thought I might have had a good shot and an advantage there. But, as I said, once we started having to check everywhere and had to double dip a couple of places, I knew I was eating up all the time in the world there trying to get that done.
And it turned out, obviously, that the right play would have been to grab the stuff out of hookshot and then go into Skullwoods to finish that off. But hindsight's 2020. You both ended up going to Turtle Rock right immediately and ended up having to double dip it because, well, you had to go back with the mirror to get to the flute.
Yep. It was a fun one, I have to say. I love the logic stuff when that happens. I mean, it's possible to only single dip Turtle Rock, but that would have required the pure guessing capability to say, hey, let me go into Pendant Skull Woods and have some fun there instead of, clearing regular dungeons.
And not only that, but going in there for the second time.
Right.
Which, by the way, that meant that Skull Woods was technically a double dip required.
That's true.
Because you had to go in there the first time around to get the lamp inside, which got you up the mountain to get to the fire rod, that got you the mirror, and then back up for the flute.
Yay for double dips with, double dips independent dungeons.
So, Xyrak, you're up 1-0 in the series. Your thoughts heading into race number 2?
I mean, it doesn't get any easier. The series between Fred and I is 1-1 now, so should be at least one more good one, if not two more good ones coming up. Should be fun.
And same thoughts for you, Fred?
Yeah, pretty much. Just gotta play my best. Hope that ends up being good enough to get through. It's gonna be a really tough battle here. Xyrak is an incredibly talented player, so just gonna have to hope I get lucky enough that we don't have the flute in the Mimic Cave again.
At least we can have the mirror when we go through it the first time. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Both of you guys collecting 167 items.
Wow, both of you. That's impressive. Both of you got the same exact items.
Well, complete full clear of the overworld. Mire, you're checking the bare minimum at that point with where the big key was, and then Ganon's tower. Apparently, we both went the same route.
Yes, you did.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, so GG to both of you guys. Game 2 tomorrow night, 10 o'clock Eastern.
Thanks a lot to Rick and Slim for the commentary. Thanks to Dragon Master for tracking, Cyclone for handling the restream, and apologies on my end. I was probably PowerPointing for some bit in and around Thieves Town there. I really don't know why, but hopefully it wasn't too bad.
Actually, it was towards the very beginning, but we got it all squared away.
Cool.
Okay,
Much of a problem. So, GG to both of you guys.
Yeah, definitely. It was a really entertaining race to watch, and look forward to seeing how the next 1 or 2 games go.
Hopefully
All right,
2. No offense.
None taken.
All right, have it up for both of these winners, Xyrak and fcoughlin. Slim, I think that's going to do it for us.
Yes, I think it is, Rick. So I guess before we leave our wonderful viewers off, let's very quickly look at the schedule. There's currently a race going on right now on Speed Gaming 3, Freddy versus C Falcon. So if you guys want to check out some more Randomizer, head on over there. Should be an entertaining race to watch, or at least watch the rest of anyway. And of course, we have more races tomorrow on the schedule, more races for the rest of the week and for the coming weeks, because we are just starting out with this bracket stage of the tournament. We have a lot of races to get done, and we're happy to broadcast as many as we can to keep this interesting for all of you. So make sure you check out the Speed Gaming channels, Speed Gaming 1 through 6, as well as the ALTTP Randomizer channels 1 through 4, because we'll be broadcasting as much as we can of this tournament for you guys, and we hope that you enjoy what we have to show you in the coming weeks.
Absolutely. A lot of great races still to come, and I know Slim will be enjoying broadcasting some of them to you as well as I, so look forward to that. This tournament's just tuning up.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, definitely come back and watch some more with us.